Hey guys, Rob here from The Art of Wax. Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to take a look at what's in the box. The albums that I purchased or picked up in the month of March 2021. First up we have Neil Young, Young Shakespeare. I've been excited about this release since I heard about it. It was recorded 3 days after my favorite Neil Young live recording, which is live at Massey Hall. This is a great listen. It's not Massey Hall, but it's damn sure close. 3 days close. Burn Ritual, The Void. Big fan of Burn Ritual. I pre-ordered this one from the Kozmic Peddler in the US. It's been a while coming, but it did get here. Super stoked to have this one in rotation. Dave Matthews Band, Under the Table and Dreaming. You may not know it from a lot of the albums that I show here, but I am a Dave Matthews Band fan. I have been since I was a teenager. It was a big part of my early life, and when I found this one at a local shop, still sealed, it's a 2016 reissue. I had to snap it up. There's another one coming here as well. Yawning Sun Sky Island. I heard about this one very last minute, a day or so before it was released, and then I got my order in and still got it in the same month, so that was pretty impressive. Yawning Suns is a crossover band, a mixed band of the Yawning Man and Sons of Alpha Centauri. So if you're into both those bands or either of those bands, check out Yawning Sun Sky Island. Up next we have Spelljammer's Abyssal Trip. This album made it into the #1 spot on the February edition of the Doom Charts list. Next video of the Doom Charts list is coming very soon, so please keep an eye open for that. I went to their Bandcamp page after I listened to the album to buy it, and they were out of stock on a lot of the different variants available. But if you go over to the band's label, Easy Rider Records, you'll find that there were still copies in a few different color schemes. This one here is the hot pink. Clouds Taste Satanic, Cloud Covered. This is an awesome release from a very, very cool band. During the lockdown period, they did a satanic single series where they did some covers and put their own spin on it. I'm not a big singles guy, so I was glad to see they were going to put it out in a full album, which they did, and it's called Cloud Covered. I picked up one of the variants, a pretty nice merge splatter mix. Looking good. Up next we have Gypsy Bird, Eye of the Sun. This is a spectacular 2020 album that was delayed in getting pressed for a long period of time. When the band first released, when the band first announced its pre-order, it was scheduled to drop back in November of 2020. And now we're sitting here in March of 2021, and it just started hitting the shelves. It was definitely worth the wait. I've been streaming this pretty much non-stop since I first heard it, but it was really nice to finally pick up the vinyl copy. Hail the Void, some Canadian content for you here. This band I love so much that they actually moved me to do my first ever Kickstarter. It's something I had never got into before, but when they put the call out to do a Kickstarter to help them get this album put on vinyl, I seized the opportunity, jumped on immediately, and fucking super glad to see this album out on vinyl now. You can definitely get it through them on their Bandcamp page. Cosmic Peddler has them. There's a lot of copies floating around now that's available. Check it out. Acid Mammoth. I picked up a pair of new Acid Mammoth albums. Obviously one is Caravan, which is their brand new album, and then their original album, just their self-titled Acid Mammoth, both on Heavy Psych Sounds. I've scored both these through Kozmic Artifactz in Germany. Still one of my favorite online retailers to purchase from. I don't know about where you live, but here in Canada, on average, it's about 5 to 10 business days before I see my shipment, and it is some of the best packed stuff you're going to find. If you haven't checked out Acid Mammoth, do yourself a favor. Check out one of their 3 releases that are currently available. They make some killer fucking music. Back on the John Prine side of things, last month we saw a few. This month we have one more. We have German Afternoons. I got into it, or jokingly got into it, with my local record shop guy when I saw this used copy go up on sale on their website. I ordered immediately, went down to pick it up and let them know that we would no longer be friends if they tried to sneak another John Prine album past me again. German Afternoons is a hard to come by pressing. Very good deal. This is a label I'd never heard of. It's Stony Plains in Canada. Discogs price was way higher than what I paid for it in the local shop, but sounds great, and it's a fun 80s John Prine album. Stanley Clark. This one here is strictly a nostalgia purchase. When I first bought my own personal turntable, when I first moved away from home, this album was available in the pawn shop, and I just grabbed it. I just loved the cover, so I picked it up when I bought the turntable. So it's one of the first albums I bought myself to spin on my own turntable. Of course, as I lived and moved, that turntable was long gone, and so was the original Stanley Clark album. Local shop had this come in for about $7, and it was definitely worth that just to have it back in my collection, just knowing that it's there. The Band and Bob Dylan Basement Tapes. I purchased this at the beginning of March while things were still somewhat locked down here in Kingston. The local shop was doing a lot of online flips. I saw this come through. I sat on it for about a week or two. It's one of those albums you see a lot, so you keep pushing it off and pushing it off. But it definitely deserves a spot in my collection anyway, so I was glad to finally snag a copy that was in really good shape. This is also a German pressing. Guided by Voices, Propeller. Matt at Something Else Records let me know this was coming and asked, do you want a copy? And of course the answer is hell yes. This early 90s Guided by Voices album is very raucous and raw. It's almost got a punk or grunge feel to it. If you think you know what Guided by Voices sounds like, you should definitely check out Propeller and make it expand your mind a little bit on what Guided by Voices can do. Never sure 100% how to pronounce these guys' names, but I'm going to go with my gut and go Binium Sabathi. One of my favorite bands. I snap up every album I can get my hands on. This one I actually forgot I'd ordered. I'd ordered it with the 2 Acid Mammoth albums. They were pre-orders from Kozmic Artifactz, so I had to wait a while for them to come in. Well, this was already released at the time, so I actually forgot it was there, and it was a beautiful surprise to open that Kozmic box and find this Live Sessions album in there. Love their music, and will continue to support this band with everything they do. Check them out. Leonard Cohen Live at the Isle of Wight, 1970. My only Amazon purchase of March. Again, for those who don't know, what I do with Amazon is I put a lot of things on Price Watch and watch for extreme price drops. This album dropped to about $16 to $17. So I scooped it up. It's a double album of Leonard's live performance at like 4 a.m. in front of 600,000 people or so at the Isle of Wight. It's he followed Hendrix. Not exactly what you'd expect Leonard Cohen and Hendrix to kind of mix here, but it's a very cool album, especially if you're a Leonard Cohen fan. It sounds great. A little more Leonard Cohen for you. This is his last studio album before he passed, You Want It Darker. Cool story for you. We have a local shop named Zaps here in town. There's also one about an hour and a half away in Coburg called Zaps. They're not co-owned, but they are friends. The guy from Coburg was making a trip to visit his buddy here in town and reached out and said, hey, I'm going to be in town. If there's anything that you need from my shop, I can bring it with me. So I picked up one of his shirts, and I picked up You Want It Darker, which I've been seeing on his shelf for a while. I just kind of held off on. So I haven't been able to make it to a shop in a while, to his shop in a while, because of the lockdowns and the closures. So it was very cool to see Tim, and also to pick the stuff up. Portishead Dummy. 1994 is one of those crazy years where an insane amount of good music was made. Portishead's Dummy is one of those albums. It's one of my favorite albums from that year, and there's so many great albums that you're probably thinking you're fucking insane. But if you haven't checked it out or given it a good listen, you should do so now. Stream this baby if you haven't. Refamiliarize yourself with Portishead, and especially Dummy. It's a great album. We got some Electric Wizard for you. This is We Live. I scored this one last month fairly cheaply, about $20 on a Facebook auction site. There's one dude that I always watch for his auctions because he's always got 1 or 2 albums slid in that fly under the radar because it's not what a lot of the other guys on that site are bidding on. And this was one of those albums. There was another dude who went back and forth with me, but I was able to pull this one out at the very last second. Great all purple version of this album. So very nice. Yawning Man, The Revolt Against Tired Noises. Just trying to fill out what I'm missing from Yawning Man. I came to them very late in the game, and they've quickly become one of my favorite bands. So as you saw the previous month, I picked up 3 or 4 from Totem Cat, and then I found this one locally, so I snapped it up as well, Yawning Man. Van Morrison St. Dominic's preview. This is another Facebook auction site win. Again, just things you got to keep your eye on. Pristine copy, original Canadian pressing of this album, which is a Van Morrison classic if you're a Van fan, which I am, so nice win. This month I added my second jazz album, or third I guess you could say, since the first one was a two-part series. This is Something Else by Cannonball Adderley. It also includes Art Blakey, which is how I'm getting my intro into jazz music and where I'm kind of hovering right now. So I listened to this once or twice on Spotify and then reached out to a local shop and said, hey man, I saw this on one of your flips recently, you still have it in stock? They did, so I picked it up. It's a great album, another good intro to jazz if you're trying to find your way like I am. Muddy Waters, The Real Folk Blues. Just adding to my Muddy collection. I'm a big Muddy fan and trying to snap up any Muddy that I can find. Local shop had it, kicking around, still sealed from the, this is an 80s repress, it was still sealed. I thought it was worth it. I had traded in a few records down there and used the credit I had to purchase this one. I warned you this was coming, and I guess this is how we're going to finish this episode off. There is another Dave Matthews Band in the mix here. This is Crash. This is an album that I attribute to helping me get through my very young divorce. Married at 19, divorced by 20. Shit happens. This is an album that I listened to a lot while I was getting through that. And I'm still a fan to this day, just like the last one. This was a still sealed 20th anniversary edition. They're tough to come by, so the minute I saw it on one of the local stores flips, I had to call down and say, like, put that aside for me. And it's there. Anyways, that's it. That's what I got. That's what I ordered or received in the month of March. Thank you again for watching, and we'll see you again.